White Snake, Is This Love? Love that song. That was good. Good stuff. The two songs I did today were like songs I really, really dig from, it's like junior high to high school area of my life. I don't remember exactly where. Could have looked up the years, but where's the fun and all that, right? But yeah, I'm doing something, the 4 rules to questioning the higher self. Now, we just kind of did this thing where you can have these discussions with your higher self. Just did that show, I think, yesterday. And so I wanted to kind of do a quick extra show to kind of go with it that gives us some good best practices when it comes to questioning our higher selves for sure, or universe. Okay, that looks better. So it's really important to keep these things in mind to make sure that when you're asking your higher self questions, they're not questions that are ambiguous, set in the wrong direction. So like one example here, let's give a good example right off the bat, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. If you ask your higher self, like, what was I doing wrong? Perfect question. What did I do wrong? Your higher self, truly, honestly, truly, remember I said in the last show, 6th dimension, right? 6 dimensions where it's at. It only knows love. It is very, very different. I could do a show down the road, but none of you guys really want to watch that. I love that kind of stuff. I'd talk for hours. Higher self doesn't know anything but love. That's the easy answer for you. So higher self has no answer for what you did wrong. There is no answer to that. Nothing. That's your answer. So if you asked me to answer you or give you a sign or show you the answer to what did I do wrong, and I'm your higher self, what I would do would be nothing. Ever. At all. You'd never get a sign because you did nothing wrong. I don't know how to ask. I don't know how to answer that, I mean. So that's an example of a question that you don't want to go down that path because your higher self doesn't know how to ask. So here's some guidelines, some best practices to kind of keep this in mind when you're wanting to ask your higher self questions. And it's a lot of fun, by the way, to do this. And I highly recommend it. When you ask your higher self questions, you get answers, not necessarily immediately, but you will get the answers. So maybe ask them, higher self, her, a question a day, maybe 2, but minimize it, because if you ask too many, it gets confusing when you get answers. Sometimes you don't know what you're getting answers to, right? If I ask 3 questions and they're sort of similar, and I get sort of an ambiguous answer that's pretty positive for any one of the 3 alone, but the fact that I've asked all 3 of them, I have no idea. So now I'm like, do you mean all 3 or which one? Now you're waiting for a universe to give you an ABC answer? I mean, how does that work, right? Or a 1, 2, 3, a license plate? I mean, right? So make it easy on yourself and your higher self to do this. Keep it simple at first, one sign until you get the sign. Then you can, in the middle of the day, kick out another one to your higher self. It's not like you have to do this before you go to bed. I'm just suggesting that you possibly do one sign at a time. It's generally an easier way to go about it. When you start getting overly complex with your signology, if you will, you start running into confusing answers. One comes to mind right now, and she's chatted with me a few times, but she had 2 different signs that represented yes or no, basically, right? And ended up getting both of them. And that's like, what? What's that about? And so the reality of it is an answer can be both. It depends what you're asking. It can be maybe. I mean, how do you demonstrate a maybe if you say A or B and the answer is C? And you're like, all right, so is it A or B? And you're like, both of them? I don't know. Well, if those are my 2 choices, those are wrong, both. So hard to do. Excuse me. So again, sometimes we want to make sure that we're giving the proper questions to our higher selves to give ourselves the best chance to have success. So you want to ask for guidance on where to go, not where have I failed, where am I trying to go? How can you help me, be a better person? How can you help me become more successful in business? How can you help me get in connection with my significant person as quickly as possible? Or how can I continue, giving to all of the people in my channel and still, remain true to being able to, it's that whole, I enjoy what I love doing, right? But I love teaching these certain other things too. I like talking about stuff that people don't necessarily want to listen to sometimes. Agnes and I joke about that because there's like a lot of the fun shows are the ones that no one watches. But, not no one. the core audience, they are really, it's awesome. Anyway, it's stupid. I'm talking about stuff I shouldn't be. All right, second one. Always ask how we can be even more successful. So success is already implied within the question initially. So how can I become even more amazing? How can I even be more happy than I currently am? How can I even, right? Like you're already adding how can I have even more abundance than my current level of abundance? That's awesome. Like how can I take this amazing skill that I have and really start to find a way to make money with it? How can I take this relationship I have with this very unique person that we have this cool chemistry? Like, could we do a YouTube channel? How can we really, how can we take that awesomeness and like get it to a place where it can benefit both of us? So you're taking something and you're like, sprinkling powdered sugar on it, but it's not a turd, because I still love that. I think that's funny. It's powdered sugar on a turd. But you're sprinkling powdered sugar on like a donut or a croissant, something crazy like that, and just makes it it's so delicious, right? And you've got that wonderful little powdered sugar all over it. Whatever, right? That whatever confection or whatever they call it. So you do that, and it makes it a little more beautiful. That's awesome. So that's a way you can kind of take it to that next level. So if you like, you're basically taking something, making it wonderful and stating it as such, and then going, and what can I do with this powdered sugar covered croissant? Can I serve it to the prime minister and meet him, right? Don't know if that's even France. Do you guys have prime ministers? I don't know. Sorry. But that kind of thing, right? You're taking something awesome and then making it better. That's what we want to do when we're talking about ourselves. Take something that's actually good about yourself and then go, how can I expand and make this better? And if it's your significant person, then you can sort of tie it to that. How can I make them love me more? How can I make myself seem even more adorable to my significant person? How can I make them already cherish me more than they currently do? Again, that's even a good one for people that aren't necessarily in a great place. How can I get them to cherish me even more than they currently do? You're implying they cherish you currently, even though they might not. But you're implying it, and then you're saying, how can I make that even greater? That is exactly the kinds of questions you want to ask your higher self. I hope that's a really good example, by the way. It hurts my elbow. Okay, also you want to include action in your question. Like, how can I be even greater, right? Like, how can I take this to the next level? I think I tied the last one and this one in together, but you want to have some sort of action to it. How can I do something? Because action is truly a part of this. A lot of us are waiting for things to fall into your lap, and in reality, it's going to be a mixture of action and not action. Action and the spiritual side. I know some people are going to be like, well, so-and-so has and such. I'm just saying, here's what I'm saying. I know really from the way I've seen things, too much action bad, too little action bad. You really want a mixture of it. And I see that very yin and yang. That's kind of how I see it, right? Like for every non-action, there's a little bit of action. And for every total action, there's a little bit of inaction, right? And really that melding and whatever works for you. But there's definitely a mixing of the two. It's never one extreme or the other. It's definitely a mixture of the two. Probably the last piece that I think is super important on this is do not consciously try to answer the question. This is a key one. This is a key ingredient for everybody out there that's trying to ask questions to their higher self. The answer needs to come from the world. It needs to come from out in front of us, out there, not necessarily inside your brain. It might, but it should be obvious if it happens that way. Generally speaking, let it be out in the world, and that's like sort of kind of your understanding and expectation, because when you do, you're going to have that experience and you're going to see some sort of answer to your question, and it's going to exist in the world, which frankly is a lot easier to kind of deal with in our rational mind, seeing it in the real world, than necessarily having some thought that you're now going, was that me? Was that him? Was it right? But when it's like a coincidence, that's a different story. It's in the world. You created it. You manifested a physical thing, or it caught your attention, or whatever. Right? Does that not make it way more real when it happens in real life versus when it's in your mind? So again, let the answer come to you in some way. Magazine, it could be on the internet, it could be a song, whatever. I mean, it can come in a lot, but let it come to you physically somewhere around you. And then it is a very profound and awesome answer. Do not try to answer it in your own mind. Don't think about it. I guarantee you the second you think about anything, you screw up all of your little connections to your spiritual self. A lot of this stuff's going to be feelings and stuff. Feelings are not thoughts. They're not. You're going to feel it, and that feeling is going to translate into some form of a thought. And it usually happens very quickly, and it just hits you as it's like, oh, that felt good. Like, and then from there you extrapolate, and that's where the ego takes over. It's like, all right, that's awesome. That's what I experienced. Well, here's what it means. And the rest of you is like, anyway, I don't know if that's what it means or not, but it was awesome and it felt good. So again, let it happen. Let it come to you. All right. So hopefully these things help. These are 4 rules to questioning your higher self. And I think it makes a big difference when we try to phrase our questions in positives. Because again, remember, our higher self's like, you did nothing wrong. I don't know what that means. So there you go. And I apologize for the cuts I had to make on this. I brain farted hardcore in the middle of this one. This was rad. And I didn't want to re-record. I was like 11 minutes in. Come on. It's like, it's brutal. All right. So going out with a great song from 38 Special. Love this band. It is called Fantasy Girl. Stay on Radio Style.
Merely delusions of a girl that I see